Hello everyone. Am I audible? Hi, Sinister Draco. Once again. Hello everyone. I see there are two people here. We'll wait for a few minutes. 7 was the time. So I wanted to ask everyone, did you try to set up your own blog using the what I taught in the previous video, in the previous live session? If you did try, please let me know a hi or something on the chat. Um, if you haven't yet tried, this is where you could look it up. Yeah, this class2.md here you would see how we try to set up. I have removed this. I'll just update it. Um, Now removed. Let me. I think this would also be removed. Let me just check it out. Okay, this is there. Let's see. I think I removed this. Okay, this is also. I think only this one I removed. CF hosted blog. Okay, so I can safely write it. That only removed. I think that's okay. Yeah. So if you didn't, for any reason, if you couldn't come in the class 2 of this week 1 setting up the cybersecurity bootcamp. So we tried setting up Cloudflare hosted blog. We also did a GitHub hosted blog. We also did a GitHub hosted blog on our own domain where we tried to host a blog on GitHub pages, and then we redirected our own domain. We created a DNS entry that redirected it to the GitHub hosted blog. So in that way, we are able to host our blogs in a free manner. For example, if you see, sorry, not this one. If you see this one, they hosted github.securemyorg.com. So securemyorg.com is my company, and if you see, I was able to this blog is hosted for free. I'm not paying any money for this, and you could do the same about me. You could write articles here, contact me. You could write about yourself. All those things. So if you're doing freelancing, you're doing bug bounty, you're doing maybe a security engineer, developer, whatever, you can just write about it. If you're trying to sell your services, you can just share this link to the HR, to any agencies and all that, and they would be happy to, like, it's easy to for them to also view it. They could be easily viewing it on the mobile. Apart from the resume that you're sending, also in your resume you can also add these links. So that would make a good case for yourself. Now if you ask where we got this, so these are the Gatsby. So we were using Gatsby to host this, and this is the theme for the same. So maintained theme, I think, yeah, 19 hours ago someone posted it, so, and it's good enough star, so I should also star it. There are some other resources that we talked about, how to set up Gatsby blog locally, what is NVM, what is Node NPM, all that. We also tried to touch upon some of the, what do you say, some of Linux command shells, and that is what we are going to try here. And that is what we're going to try in this also. And then we also saw about the GitHub template repository, how to set up your own hosted blogs. Someone asked about oh my ZSH, what is it? And I showed about this as well. So today I'll be starting with some of the Linux command terminals, so that because as a person uh, in information technology domain, if you have work that you do using your laptop, if you code, if you are a security engineer, if you're a SOC analyst, if you're any in these roles which have to use a terminal, you should definitely be proficient with commands. You should understand the file structure and all. So we'll be going through this website called Linux Journey, and we'll see about different command files, what these do, and I'll also show you some of the uh, hacks or some of the shortcuts that people use and all those kinds of things. Then we'll also see fast typing, so I'll urge everyone to give it out. Sorry, try it out, and that will let you know what is your current typing speed. Anything of, I mean, at least you should have 30, so that you can easily 30 words per minute, so that it would become like you wouldn't get bored that hey, the work looks very long because it's taking so much time. Because if you're typing fast, you would be able to do work fast as well, so you would enjoy doing work. I'm just posting the link here. So this is the Discord. If you haven't joined, you would find the link here, the joining link on this repo. Sorry, the cybersecurity bootcamp. There's the joining invite link of Discord. You can click here and join it. All the information and the daily reads, so any news vulnerabilities that we find online, we try to post it here. So you can find this is a good community of around 500 550 people. Yeah, I think it's 550. Let me see. Oh, 558. So 558 people. It's good enough. So you can see and you can share your thoughts. You can also participate in CTFs if you have not yet participated. Like this CTF was going on 2nd February. Shantanu Kul posted about the CTF that they were trying to do in security board. And deadline was 5th Feb. It's been 15 months. It's been a long time. They posted it. But yeah. I think that's all. Anyone, if you can hear me, please write a hi or something in the chat so that I can know that okay, you're there. It's a Friday evening. I don't expect a lot of people to be today. Even I would be traveling the whole next 2 weeks, so it would be hard for me to come on the week two sessions. Maybe start it later, I would say. But I'll definitely try to complete this week five before May end, so that all the week five everyone has the bootcamp lesson. They can refer to it and they can start doing things there. That would be useful for everyone. If you have not yet subscribed to the newsletter, I would highly suggest you do that. We are trying to start up this newsletter and doing things, posting about things. Like, for example, this was the first newsletter that went out where we talked about some of the things, jobs and internships that we found online, some international jobs and internships that were there. Then last week in cybersecurity, some of the articles that we found, we tried to summarize and put it here. Also, the sources there, one article summarized, and then just a did you know interesting section. You can type your comments, you can let me know what you feel about this, and you can also read it online. Ideally, I would want that if you subscribe it, you'll get it in your inbox, but that's okay. Cool, I think that's all. Now let's start. uh, Hey, hi, Akshay Patel. Hi. 7-7, let's not waste everyone's time. So yeah, the agenda for today I already mentioned, as you would see, we would have seen here, sorry, in the announcements. Uh, so we'll start with Linux commands, then Linux shell scripting. We'll show you some of the commands that are very common to use and how you can do shell scripting. We'll also use ChatGPT to just write some shell scripts and all. Then we'll see some practice. We'll start with the practice portal. Shortcuts are increasing your productivity. I'll show you OMyZSH and other places which you can use to improve your productivity in terminal, because it's very fast to do things if you have the right sets of commands and tools there. Then in last, this is a very important thing, asking for help in online communities, how you can ask people if you get stuck somewhere on Stack Overflow or Reddit. So SO is Stack Overflow, or Reddit or whatever. So there's a way to asking questions. There's a way to talking to people. There's a way to getting answers. Else, it's usually you would get like spammed out, blocked out. People think you're spamming and all those. So let's start with this. Hey Gaurav, no. Thanks for asking. Yeah, I'm well. I've resumed my running. I usually used to run long back, but I've started running. I just ran and came back. Maybe that's why. But oh no, I'm totally well. I don't know why I look weak or something. But yeah, thanks for asking. Okay, cool. So everyone who's here, please start with this. I'm just posting it in the comment. Let's see your typing speed. I posted a link here. If you're on a laptop, please try, and I'll also see what's my typing speed. I have not done it for a very long time. Let's see. Okay, click here to start. Oh, 86 words. That's very fast. Usually it's 50 to 60. I think under pressure I performed even better. So 86 words per minute is a very good speed I would perform myself. And if you see here, they also have this improve your typing speed. There's a quick tip. A lot of people just sign up with Google on these services and then they also receive in news and all. So let's say if you don't want to get spammed and all, you can use this service called tempmail.org. So there's temporary mail. They create a temporary mail address and give it to you. There are a lot of other temporary mail services. So if you see your temp mail services, you would find a lot of these temp mail, not Mail, Mailmodo, all these things. I've been using this. If sometimes these domains are blocked by a lot of these accounts online because they know that okay, this is a temporary service, so you can skip that. Uh, let's see, put it password, sign up. And this way, I don't get spammed with emails. If let's say they just have to do a verification, I'll just do a verification from here. That's all. Let the party begin. Never. So you can see you can start here English for typing. They also teach you how to keep your hands. If you see here, this is a touch typing method where you just keep your hands in a particular format. If you see the right index is on J and the left index finger is on F, and then spaced out to the four keys on the right and the left. That way you know every place where it is there. For example, I just type J now, next, and then it would be the next character or something. J space J space J space J space. So this now F on the left index, and similarly you try and you will get the idea of it without even seeing the keys, and that's why you will be able to type faster. So uh, uh, I I use Brave browser and uBlock version, so by default it blocks this. But you can also find any other typing website. It's just the idea that okay, you should be aware of these typing speed. Now let's come to the Linux terminal thing. So how many of you know about Linux terminal? Can you just I was not sharing my camera. Yeah? Oh sorry, I'm very sorry. I was just not sharing the you anyone could have told me no one. Let me just start from the very first. Uh, that's okay. Now, if you are able to see the screen, change email address. Okay, yeah. So, so this is a data type and 30 second. 1 second. I think I have sent the link here. Typing tutorial. Sorry. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just so this is Rata type. Here you try to find try to improve your typing speed because the faster you type, the more interesting you would be able to sit on things and start working. The reason I say it, say for example, if you're doing hacking or whatever you're doing, let's say you're doing development or just anything related to laptop, and if it takes you a lot of time to type, you would feel that hey, it's very tiring to work on this. It slows me down, something like that, right? But if you're faster typing, let's say 70, 80 words per minute, 90 words per minute, it would be very fast and you'd be able to do things fastly, and that's why you would be more productive on a laptop. So that's why I suggest everyone to have a decent at least 40, 50 words per minute typing speed. That would be good enough to start working on it. So this is a website where you can test out your typing speed and you can also improve on it. And I was not initially sharing the screen. Uh, Now let's see my typing speed. So 68 words per minute is good enough. I mean, you can also try it out. I've shared the link in the Discord channel, and this is the Discord where we with keeping all the discussions of week one. There are already, I think, around 558 people are there. So it's a good community where people try to post news articles and everything that they read and post it every day. I also try to keep the discussion up and running. So you can see like Chat GPT plugin exploitation. There was an article about it and all those things. So here you would get apprised of the latest happening in the security and other kinds of like cybersecurity and interesting field that's there. So that's it. Also, if you have not yet subscribed to this newsletter.securemyorg.com, I would also just go and do that. I try to collect the weekly cyber insight from around the world and put it here. If you see the first edition for this one, this was the first edition, and we try to post jobs and internships that we found, and any kind of news articles we try to summarize it and put it here. Some of the good ones only, not every other random article. And also we tried to summarize one of these like interesting piece of news and also the actual article link so that you can check it out. And then this is a random, I would say, a random piece of a fact that I would related to computer science. So I'll try to post it here. You can go and subscribe here. There's a subscribe link here as well. You can just go and subscribe it here. Yeah, you want to read it, you can read it there. So that's there. How many of you have, now let's come to the shell part. How many of you have used the shell or Linux terminal on it? Or is it anyone who is using it for the first time? Please message a hi or yes in the chat. I would get to know. Okay. Uh, Seems like cool. Okay, this is my terminal. Oh, my ZSH is so I use the ZSH terminal. If you see echo dollar shell bin.zsh, by default you might have this bin bash. Uh, I I usually use ZSH. So I usually I'll let's say make a dir mm, week one class 3 cd week one class 3. So PWD is for present working directory where I'm currently right now. And let's say I create a file touch abc ab.txt. So it just creates the file here. If I do ls hyphen alh, alh is the attribute list for list, h for human type. So human type is basically human readable type. If I remove this option h, then it would just print 182.4.96 and all, and it would be very hard to understand what the actual file size is. So let's say vim is a text editor. I'm just giving dumping out everything, and then I'll explain what the things are and why I'm creating these files and why I'm talking about it. Just bear with me for a minute or two. Let's say I type uh, hello world. This is class third of week one of cyber security boot camp. Okay, thanks for joining in. Cool. I just saved it. Now cat is a command to just cat out or display all the text of it. Then sorry. WC again is a command to do a word count of ab.txt. So 5 lines are there. I think hyphen L is for lines. If I just do WC ab.txt, lines, words and characters. This is line, this is words, and this is character if I am correct. If you want to understand what how this command is, man is a manual for WC, word, line, character, and byte count. So word, line, character, and byte count. Word, line, character, and byte count. Okay. Let's do man. Man is again. I'll talk about it what exactly it is, and I think you should also be able to see examples. Count the number of character words and lines in each of the files. Find the longest line in a list of files. WC-L fgrep total. Okay. So let's try this command. Okay, now if you have to exit the man, you just press the Q. mlw Control L clears the screen so that I again go to the top. It's the same thing. Sorry. Um, cool. Now sorry, 1 second. Sorry, I had to just go for water. So on a normal terminal, if you don't have a sorry, oh my ZSH, what you would have to do to see the same output is ls-alh. Yeah, sorry. There's some hiccups. Actual. So yeah, so if you see this LL, I press and I see almost the similar output except this part. So what LL is let's LL is alias to ls hyphen LH. Sorry. So if I just do this command, I'll see the same output. So if you see ls hyphen LH prints out the same command. So if you just see what are different commands I try. Sorry. So I tried touch command. I tried Vim. I tried what else? I tried touch Vim mkdir. Let's go from the very first mkdir touch. Oh, before mkdir I also did cd, and before cd, oh sorry, after cd I did pwd, mkdir touch, um, ls hyphen alh, Vim I did, then I did wc. Man, I think some of the commands that we tried to do, and also the very first I did was echo dollar shell. So there's a command called history, which I could have shown here, but again, history. Uh, I don't want to like list out all the commands that I would have run because there could be some sensitive here, sensitive data here. So that's why I'm not trying to list out everything here. Okay, let's see. So let's talk about each of these. So if you see, echo command is to echo out anything. So for example, let's say I am having hiccups right now on the stream. It will just print it out, and that's a bit, I mean, I would say embarrassing or whatever, but yeah, that's there. Uh, can someone just let me know if I'm still able to stream? The stream is going live because I am a bit doubtful if it's going through or not. Okay, thanks Gaurav for letting me know. So yeah, so I was just talking about the commands that we sorry. So echo is the command to just print out whatever I write. Dollar is what, so dollar is sorry, dollar is a special thing where it's a variable. So any variables is appended with a dollar. For example, there's a dollar path as well here. If show you echo dollar path, so it would give out all the variables. For example, let's say I do set a variable called, let's say, export. Export is how you export a variable. Let's say a scene equal to stray. Let's say for example. Now if I do echo dollar a scene, it will print out stray. So that's what variable is, and export is a command that's being used to set a variable. So, but export would only work in this. So for the export would only set a variable in this particular terminal session. So for example, let's say if I do now echo dollar asim in this one, there would not be anything because that's not, asim is not being set exported in this one, in this first terminal, in the second terminal. Rather, it was only exported in this one. But again, if I, let's say, do echo dollar shell, then it would be there. If I do echo dollar path, it would be there. This is because path, shell, all these variables are again, it's initialized when this terminal session is initialized. There's this file called, there are two files. So ZSHRC, because I'm using ZSH, sorry, and sorry, bash RC if you're using bash terminal. So these files are initiated in the very first thing. So if okay, I don't want to show the file because it could be, there could be something sensitive there. Let me just quickly check if there's something sensitive there or not. Um, hmm, there doesn't seem to be anything sensitive. Hmm, let me just quickly see. So ZSHRC is something that is usually, okay. Hmm. Okay, no worries. I think it's fine. You can go ahead and I can just show you. So let me quickly show you this. So ZSHRC is a file, and so there are three files usually that's loaded by default, and then there's this profile. So let's say if I show you this ZSHRC file because this is being loaded. So you see export ZSH equal to $home oh my ZSH again that is also being, so this file is being loaded by the very first thing. So whatever variables I set here, for example, let's say I set here export uh, class 3 equal to, what is it, 15 March. Let's say I set it here. Now if I open a new terminal and echo dollar class 3, it would give 15 March because that's being set in the ZSRC file. I usually like to keep it like that. So all the variables, ZSH theme, all these are also variables that are being set here. And whatever is being set whenever ZSH terminal is being loaded, the ZSH RC file gets loaded automatically, and whatever variables are there, that could also be loaded. And same goes for bash RC. So if you set anything in bash RC and you're using a bash terminal, those variables things would get loaded automatically. Profile is something that's consistent throughout. So whether it's a bash terminal or ZSH terminal or whatever, profile would get loaded in any of those terminals. So let's say there's a VPSO server that multiple people are accessing and everyone is accessing the same account, so they can copy things in their profile, and whatever terminal they prefer to use, they would still have that variables, that configuration in all these terminal sessions. Now let's say you might ask, hey Asim, now do I need to every time, let's say I'm doing like I've done a lot of Python calculation and all those things in the same terminal and I want to access those variables. So even if I set a variable, I don't want to restart a terminal or something like that. So how do I do that? Let's say if I have to add it into ZSHRC, but I don't want to restart a terminal, I want to load those variables in the same terminal. So in that case, what you do is you just light source and source, or you can do like this thing, and dot n, and this would basically load the ZSHRC file in the terminal. For example, let me just show you. So let's say I add here a theme, sorry, and let's say I add 1 2 3 4 5. Okay, cool. Now, if I do echo dollar Asim, it won't print anything. But if I do like this, and now if I do echo dollar Asim, 1 2 3 4 5 would be this. So basically, it's loading the file again. If I do the source, it would do the same thing. Now let me just again remove that. Double D basically deletes a line in the Vim. So this is a Vim editor. You can also use Nano if you are not very comfortable with Vim. I just happened to learn a few like shortcuts in Vim. That's why I've been using it. But again, you can see here Control X for exit, Control O for write out, Control R to read file, previous cut text. All these things are there. So Control X is for exit. Okay, cool. So let's go to the next command that we are. CD is for change directory. So let's say if I have to change the directory to temp directory, I do that. LL to list all files, LS to list all files, CD is again change directory, LL to list. There's this command called tree. It's not available by default. apt, sorry, brew install, because I'm using Mac, so I have to use brew. If you have to install some package in, sorry, brew install tree. So if you have to install in package in your, let's say Linux, if it's a Debian system, you would do apt install tree. If it's a non-Debian system, you would use, let's say if Fedora or Yum or Fedora is there, so you would use yum install the command. Usually, if the right command is there, you would get it in your installer. Otherwise, you would have to look it up online. Now it should be working. Tree dot. So it shows like this. Let's say I go this, and it would show all the files. It looks beautiful. Just that thing. Cool. And when I press tab, it tries to autocomplete whatever file name is there available. There are a lot of extensions to do a fast kind of thing on this. You can look it up online. So let me just show, oh my ZSH. You can make very cool terminals and all. So, and there are a lot of extensions, plugins for these. Yeah, install OMyZSH, then you would have installation file. Got plugins, Git, Laravel, Node, all these plugins are there, React from AWS. I mean, there are a lot of things that you could do here. Let's see how you can like learn and in a fun way. So For example, this is a linuxjourney.com website where you can try these commands and run it. And let's, like, for example, they have given the exercise is that try some other layer and see what should be the output to display when you type echo hello world. So I already told what echo does. So let's try to do this. Check answer, correct answer. How do I find what directory you are currently in? So you remember there was this command pwd. Pwd is the command to do a print working directory. Oh, I thought it's a present working. So see, I didn't know the exact full form, but yeah. Print working directory, again you print the working directory. Cd change directory, we already talked about this. If you're in home feed pictures and wanted to go to home feed, what's the good shortcut? So good shortcut is cd dot dot to go above a directory. For example, let me just quickly show you. So I'm currently in this where I'm in present in temp week 1 class 3, right? So inside temp there's a week 1 class 3. I'm inside that. Let's say I have to go one folder up. So I do this cd dot dot, I'll go into the temp folder. This is a shortcut that everyone knows. The other one that people don't know is, let's say if I have to go back to whatever file I was in, the whatever previous folder I was. So what you could do is cd minus and you would go back again to this. And this works in wherever directory you are. So for example, let's say I go to downloads. Right now, my currently directory is users Asim share downloads, and I have to go back to, let's say, cd temp week 1 class, right? I would have to type this whole thing. Instead, what I will do is cd minus, and I'll be back in this week 1 class 3. Why it happens is, just remember, hyphen is just remembering. It's like a back command which basically backs you to the previous folder that you were there. And you might ask us, what is this? This stands for the root folder, the home folder. For example, if I do this, I do present working users. Asim Stray is the present, is the home working directory. So this tilde operator is for the home. These are shortcuts. -1 is the for the previous folder. Tilde operator is for the home directory. Again, if I have to go back like this. So these are some of the shortcuts that I mentioned. Let's try a few of the LSs again for list command. Now it asks what command would you use to see hidden files. So again, there's one thing. So in Linux, anything that is with a dot, that is a hidden command, a hidden folder. For example, touch dot this is hidden file, right? Now if I do ls, I would only see ab.txt. If I do ll, I would still see ab.txt. Now to find to show the hidden file, what I have to do is ls hyphen a. Hyphen A lists out all the files, hidden, non-hidden, whatever. Just to see it in a beautiful format, in a list format with a human readable file size and all the files, all the attributes. I'll do this. So this is a hidden file is also being shown. So what command would you see? ls hyphen a is the answer that I would be using. See the hidden files. Touch is to create a file. How do you create a file? Touch my file. If you're on a laptop, please try to do this with me. It would be fun to do this. Create a new file, note the timestamp, touch the file, and check the timestamp once again. Okay. Create a new file. Let's say touch new file. New file is there. Okay. Now, what is the timestamp? 1936. Touch new file. And if you press the up arrow, it just reverts the previous commands that's there. Now, if I do ll, 1936, 19, what is the date, current date? It's 1937, right? Now, if I do touch new file, oh, it's 1937. Basically, what did it do? Touch is also used to change timestamps on existing files and give it a try. Try to do ls-l on a file and note the timestamp, touch that file to update it. There are many ways to. Oh, I didn't know this, that it's also being used for this thing. Now there's a file command. File command is very useful to identify what kind of file it is. For example, now you know it's a JPG file, right? But if, let's say, uh, I mean, it could be a funny.gif, but it's not actually gif as it's mentioned. For example, let's say it's ab.txt. Now I'll overwrite it to ab.txt. I'll rename it to ab. Let's say mp4. So what happens is, now if I see ab.mp4 is there and new file is there. Mv command is to move, and it's also used for the renaming part. So basically, it's moving ab.txt to the same folder but with a different name. Now, if I do, ideally it's MP4 file, so it should be running in VLC or the media players. But just to verify what it is actually, I'll do ab.mp4 and it will show me it's ASCII text. There's nothing there. and that's why I can also do MP4. By the way, in Linux you can also cat a MP4 file, so that shouldn't be a surprise. It will just print ineligible characters, but yeah, you can still do that. The question is, are you, there's a question by in the world but not of the world. Are you teaching Linux or anything on agenda about cybersecurity? I'm just teaching about Linux, and that's a gateway to being more proficient in cybersecurity or any field related to computer science that you are trying to do. If you're working with laptop or things, it would help you in that way. From the next week, from the week 2 when we start, we'll be doing web application security. We'll be hosting some of the insecure live boxes, and we'll try to hack those on a local machine. So in the previous class, I also taught about how you can set up Gatsby, how you can use Git commands and all. Those would come handy in the next class when we are doing it. And also these commands that I'm trying to teach you, these would also come handy when we'll try to use open source tools like FFUF and GF and maybe other dirbuster and all those kinds of things using the terminal itself. These Linux session would also be useful in your third week when we'll try to create our own recon infrastructure and do things like that. So that's there. Yeah. What command could you use to find the file type of file? File, check answer. Let's see. Correct. Run cat and try to cat multiple files. Okay. Let's do cat ab.mp4 new file. Oh, there's nothing in the new file, so I don't think there's there. Let's do vim new file. Let's add. So there are two ways to add text to it. First, I'll do it like this. Text from vim. Text added from vim. Added using vim. Kar deta. Okay. Now ZZ to just shift ZZ to save it. The other way to save it in vim is, so see, to start typing in vim, you'd see now if I try to type. Okay, sorry. Uh, I mean, you can't directly just type. Let's say I try typing B and anything, I'm not able to type because it doesn't straight away start typing. First, you have to press I. If you see in the bottom, now I'm in the insert mode, so I can insert text into it. Now, if I type and now if I press escape, I'm now outside of insert mode. Now, what I do is I'll do colon. If you see on the bottom colon, WQ write and quit. WQ. If I just W, it would just write files. If I do Q, now it would quit a file. So cat new file. So this is one way to add text to this. Now the other way could be, the other way is, I would say, echo added text using echo command. So we will do new file. Now we do cat new file. So added text using echo command. Now just look at the subtlety of it. So let's say I do this. Now if I do cat new file, so what it did, this is the overwriting thing, and this is appending to the file. So just be careful when you're using commands that you don't accidentally overwrite the contents of the file when you were actually wanting to append to the file. So yeah, now let's try catting two files, ab.mp4 and new file. So you see both these content just came one after the other, and see if you see the man command for cat, concatenate and print files. That's the full form, I think. Uh, Display non-printing actor, number the output line starting at 1. Let's try to use a few commands. So if once I enter this, if you want to come out of it, you can see there's a colon here. So if I just press Q, I'll just come out of it. What was the command? What was the option that we were trying to use? We will try to use this number the output line starting at 1. So cat -n and let's say ab.mp4. So you can see 1 2 3 4 5 and numbered output is there. Cool. I think that's pretty much for this. What we'll do is there are a few other commands as well, less and all. Before I think you can go and practice on this one. Before closing this session, I also wanted to touch upon some of the etiquettes that you should follow while talking online stuff. Where is that? Yeah. So this is a Stack Overflow. So I was just checking out what is the most downvoted post on Stack Overflow. It itself got -92. So if you just there's a way to asking questions, I think it's there. What type of questions should I avoid asking? So Stack Overflow is a place where you can ask any technical related question. Even they have other exchanges where you can talk non-technical as well, for non-technical as in non-computer science, where let's say you want to talk about maybe archaeology, maybe history, maybe magic, maybe movie characters and all. They have a lot of these kinds of what do you say, exchanges where you can talk about it, or you can just straight away go and ask your questions as well. For example, you don't have to pay for anything. Let's see Stack Overflow questions. Let's go to the questions, right? So this is someone who asked 2 minutes ago. A Lombok build annotation access level private. You can also go and ask questions. You can bounty questions are there, active questions, newest questions. 24 million questions are there. There's a lot of you definitely. If you just Google about something, you definitely find something or other that goes to Stack Overflow. Let's say how to use how to quit from Vim. Let's say how to quit out of Vim editor. How to exit Vim. So if you see here, this is the, I mean, this comes up and there's 5305. 11 years ago, 7 months, someone asked, and then there's a response Q to quit. Hit the escape key to enter the normal mode. Then you can type Q to enter command line mode. A colon will appear at the bottom. That's what I showed. And then a very descriptive, easy to follow answers. People upvote it, and the reason they upvote it, if it's helpful for them, they downvote it if someone spams it. That's why they have very strict guidelines how to ask questions, what kind of questions you should ask, and don't just ask, okay, generic questions should be avoided, and it should look that you have researched something before asking instead of just trying for the, because there are hundreds of people who are just on the Stack Overflow. They are maybe ready to just answer questions, so don't respect their time as well when you're asking questions. So be sure that okay, when you're asking some questions, that question, it looks that you have researched. Otherwise it looks that okay, if you have not researched it, it looks like okay, I just put it out and you are expecting the community to work for you and search your answer and let you know. That's not how community answering works, and that's why you should be very specific and you should do your own research, put it in a very proper format how to exit it out. Like for example, he could just have it how to exit Vim, but he mentioned that I'm stuck and cannot escape. It says type a to quit Vim, but when I type that, it could simply appears in the object body. And this was very long back. At that time, they were not, I think they were not very strict on it. But again, he mentions, they tried to show that, okay, this is how I tried to uh, come out of it, but still I was not able to. So, yeah, and you can also see what other types of questions the person has asked. The tags, you can also add tags. Let's say if you want to, let's say if you want to ask questions or answer questions for a certain type of thing, then you can also use this to just filter out the tags and see the recent questions. Once you answer questions, you can also go top of the leaderboard. You have more points. All those kinds of things are there. So that's about Stack Overflow. Again, on Reddit, also try to. So on Reddit, try to follow the. Let me just try to follow the community. For example, let's say cybersecurity community. So every community has their own rules, and make sure you abide by those, because otherwise they have bots and other things that can easily use to basically kick you out of it, and then maybe your account might get blocked or spammed, or no, sorry, not spammed, blocked, or maybe banned for a while. So it's good to have and maintain. Just follow basic rules. It's an online community where people are ready to engage and where people are ready to help each other and in doing trying to make meaningful conversation, trying to learn or spread some knowledge about it. So don't just go and use these forums as an advertisement platform, because they strictly don't like that. So make sure you try to like put out something that's useful to actual community, and you also show some respect to other people's time. So that's there. Um, I'll end the stream now. I think it's good enough. And if you have any questions, make sure you ask on the Discord. There's this week one here. Sorry, there's a week one here in the cybersecurity bootcamp section. You can ask any questions that you would want here. Um, yep, and someone would be ready to answer, or maybe I would be ready to answer. Okay. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for joining in. Hope you have a good weekend. And if you have not yet set up your blog, make sure you do that.